So most good photographers should be able to get you a great result for your e-commerce business, right? Wrong, sadly. Stick to the end of this video and I'll give you something to implement in your e-commerce business that can really help you out. So, good photographers, a lot of people say we're a dime a dozen, but it's not actually true. There's legions of photographers out there. If you can get a good photographer who's a great wedding photographer or a great portrait photographer, then that's one thing. But product photography for an e-commerce business, it's its own beast. It really is. You've got a lot to manage there. You need someone who understands light, because I keep on hammering it. Light is everything when it comes to photography. Photography has almost nothing to do with cameras. It is something we waste a lot of money on, but it has very little to do with cameras and everything to do with light. So someone who knows how to craft light around your product, the modeling light to show the depth, the form, all the curves, even bring out the texture of the materials. It's really important that you have a photographer who understands how to do this. There's things that can be really difficult, mainly highly reflective things, semi-opaque objects like bottles, for example. These are really, really tricky. And I had a client who really had a big problem with his business. He was selling these massive coffee machines. So they're huge machines that the baristas use, very, very expensive. And he was doing the right thing in that he was trying to save a little bit of money because he's got a lot of outlay. He's bought all these machines in. He hasn't been able to move any yet, and he wanted to photograph them as cost effectively as possible. So I understand people who are in business, they got to do this, especially in this tough economy. But for this guy, he got his staff member to try to shoot these objects, and it didn't go well. They were unusable images. He got another staff member to do it, who was a bit of an amateur photographer. And unfortunately, this guy couldn't come up with the goods. So to his credit, he then employed a photographer, a professional photographer, who came and spent half a day trying to shoot this object. And apparently the guy set up his lights and then packed them all up and left saying that it's an unshootable object. No one could shoot the thing. Quite crazy. So then he got another photographer in, and this guy was better. He set up all his lights and he shot the job, but it just wasn't up to scratch, and the images weren't usable at the end of the day. So he's really been burnt at this point. He's had 4 people try to do it, one of whom he's had to pay, the other 2 he's had to go to the trouble of finding photographers. So this guy is now in real trouble with his business because he's got 6 months that have elapsed and he hasn't been able to actually sell any of these huge coffee machines. So this is when he called me and he said, look, I've seen your website, love your shots, you look a little expensive. I don't know what that means. I guess it's a compliment. It means that your shots look good. So he got me in anyway, and I shot the job. And to be honest, I took one look at it and I thought, well, his staff members were definitely set up for failure there. It's a very complex object to shoot, wrapped in mirror finish stainless steel, and just a really beautiful object, but really problematic to shoot, so not for the faint of heart. So anyway, we went ahead, we shot the job, and I'll pop these images over the top here, and the client has done the right thing. He's decided to actually put his hand in his pocket and invest in photography. He's decided to stop looking at product photography as an expense and start looking at it as an asset that he's accumulating, because this asset is something that's going to make him money, and that is the difference of the actual definition between a liability and an asset. Something's costing you money or something that's making you money. So as you can see here from this image that I'm overlaid here, this was the actual machine, and this is how it appeared there, taken with my camera. So this is a $7,000 camera. It's a really good one, and I wanted you to see just how bad this shot is to drive the point home that it's not about cameras, it's about lighting. So you can see in the reflection there's a forklift, there's pallet racking, it's horrific. So let's now take a look at the shot that has allowed this client to put his best foot forward. Here it is. It's a big difference there. You can see that this is all done in camera. No Photoshop has been involved in this whatsoever, apart from the removal of the table that the coffee machine is sitting on. So as you can see, all of the highlights have been managed. The reflection has been managed. It wasn't easy. I had to build a tent around this entire thing, from ceiling to walls, a full wraparound, but that's how it gets done. And it is absolutely worth doing. So for this client, as I said, he'd spent 6 months trying to sell these machines, didn't sell one. I gave him the images, he uploaded the images, replaced his old terrible ones, and then within 3 days, the machine was sold and his sales were off and racing, and he'd already clawed back the amount of money plus some that he had invested in the photography. So now this is already an asset that is making him money. So bubba da boobity, that's it. Story time with your Uncle Paul is over. Sorry I rambled, but sometimes I feel like it's good to share these insights that I've had with other clients where they've had a really great outcome. You can have a look at the strategy that they took to get this outcome and hopefully achieve the same for your business in a much shorter time that they might have done. So what else do we need to cover off? If you would like some other marketing tools, then jump onto the website ecommerceimages.com/freebies. You can download my ebook there. It's a free downloadable called Sales Beast, Sideline or Sales Beast. I wrote it. I should be able to remember the title. And there's also a great image pack, 50 free images for you to use in your social media feed to get you off and racing. All right, speak soon. Bye.